Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another stream on Fantasy Football Scout. Today, Chris and I are going to run through my Game Week 26 team selection. A lot to talk about as we go ahead towards double game week. The first double game week of the season. And I myself am considering triple captaincy and also bench boosting as a potential option. Chris, how are we getting on?
Yeah, I'm good. I'm good. For once, I'm not coming in with a tale of woe. After back-to-back 26, 27 and 26 pointers. Last week, I got my 66. This week, I'm on a big green arrow for me. I'm on 67 points so far with two to play. So I'm moving from just outside 4 million in 2 weeks to just hopefully inside 3 million. And I'm on my route. The fight back starts here. I'm looking forward to a big double game week as well to try and boost that further.
Yeah, I
But yeah, I'm
wonder.
happy. I'm happy.
Yeah, good. And as you'll see, we're seeing incremental gains from both of us, and you'll probably see that across the board along a lot of content creators, as this is where the planning stage of the season comes in, and this is where we make our money. But there is still lots to play for, and that's for sure. This particular double game week, I don't know if there's going to be too many gains because, again, because there's only two teams that are doubling. I just feel like everyone is going to have, near enough the optimal triple up. And even if you don't have that third option, I don't think, it'll be detrimental to your rank. So it'll be interesting to see how this plays out. But the big gains, Chris, that we need to talk about, and again, we'll talk about it a bit more when we get on to my team. Triple captaincy. I think this will be a very, very popular week to triple captaincy. Have you thought about it?
Yeah, I'm pretty much on it. As you'd have heard if you've tuned in to me, and while we were talking about Chai's team, I've been telling you my tales of woe. I just need to keep the momentum going. I want to get inside that top, at least the top 1 million, which is my worst ever finish, just outside 1 million. So I want to get inside that. Oh, 94 points, very nice. So someone in the chat there, Luiti has got 94. That's great. With Chile, Parma, I sent. But yeah, I want to get inside that. So I need to kind of do it now, I feel, to take advantage and try and keep that momentum going. It's as much psychological as it is a practical decision. But I think it's a good opportunity. I mean, I get that Haaland will have a double later on. And by that point he might have started scoring again. But I think the Arsenal, if you're ever going to do a defensive captain and a defensive triple captain, now feels the time. The Arsenal defence looks formidable. Gabriel's picking up, bonus here and there, and defcons here and there, and obviously got the goal threat as well. I'm triple captain Gabriel.
For sure, that's interesting. I
I'm
wasn't
on it.
expecting
I'm
that.
on it. I'm nailed. Yeah, I'm in. I'm all in, my friend.
And I haven't heard
So,
too many that are too confident on doing it. There is a lot of discussion on it, and I can get it. If you're asking me, again, I am considering it. But when I look at the perks, Chris, of doing it, again, Arsenal just look like one of the best defensive teams we've seen in a while. And also, he's very, very good in terms of DEFCON. Now, he only hit 7 this game week, and again, there is still stuff to play for this game week with Liverpool and City and one other game. But I think he is a phenomenal option for sure. Again, along with the goal threat and the two amazing fixtures. Now, there are also away fixtures, which in my opinion
yep.
would increase the appeal for DEFCON. Like if you're asking me, I would prefer 2 away games with DEFCON, and that goes with Declan Rice. I was looking at Rice's returns before I brought him in. Oh, sorry, I'm after knocking your face off, Chris, so I can't even bring that up. But don't quote me if I'm wrong. But I believe he's hit DEFCON 6 out of the 7 games which were away, and that's Declan Rice. Again, I'm just going to look through to make sure I'm not wrong here. But I believe a lot of his DEFCON has definitely come away from home, and it's something to consider.
Yeah, I think. Can you hear me still? I
Yeah,
can't hear you.
all good.
There you go. No, it's cool. I don't know. Yeah, I think hopefully home team feels it's got to go for it. Like Brentford. Actually, if I of the two, the Brentford clean sheet, I feel a bit more concerned about. Brentford have been pretty good at home. They're finding a way with obviously Thiago, with Utara, with Sharda, with a few others chipping in. They're decent this side, this attacking outfit, despite losing some great options. So I think I think that's, but as you say, that plays into DEFCON. Like Brentford aren't going to sit back at home and put all the men behind the ball. That's not going to happen. So I think the DEFCONs are there, and I think it'd be an open game. It might be that the opportunities in that one are more attacking and DEFCON for Gabriel than they are. I think Wolves. I feel a bit more confident that Arsenal can shut them out, but if they don't, I've also got Mane in my team at the moment. I brought him in the wild card because I wanted to. I thought this was an opportunity, this double likely coming up, and then and now I don't know. I feel I've got to play him now, even though it means dropping someone either Rodgers, Rice, João Pedro or Enzo to do that, or Mbemo, which I don't really want to do any of those. So. But I feel I've got to play him. Having him on the bench and not playing him before he's got a double feels mental. So yeah, but I think yeah, DEFCONs, you're absolutely right. I think that DEFCONs, you obviously got more opportunities when teams come at you, and I think Wolves have got nothing to lose really, right? And Brentford are I think are just an attacking team by nature at the moment. So yeah, I think there'll be DEFCONs.
Yeah, so
I can see Brentford hang on, in the chat here, we've got Malachi Fox. I can see Brentford beating Arsenal. What do you think about that? That's a big shout, isn't it?
yeah, I mean, Key Andrews has done very well this season, I have to say. A fellow Irishman, he's doing very, very well. But when it's Arsenal, it's a different story. Like, they're a very different kettle of fish. But, let's see. Again, 2 away games, you never know what might happen. But that leads us on nicely, Chris, to taking a look at my Game Week 25 score so far. Now,
yeah, how's it going? What you
just to contextualize things for anyone who's unfamiliar here, Chris and I both wildcarded in Game Week 24. So that is why we're hopefully well set up for Game Week 26. And why my Game Week 25 score is somewhat of a decent score. So let's quickly take a look. Now, Chris, here we are absolutely not unfamiliar to doing things a bit different. Let me quickly read out the team and leave you have a look at my team. Yeah. On goal, we've got Robert Sanchez. 4 at the back, Anderson, Gabriel and Timber, with Trevor Chalobah beside him. 5 in midfield, Fernandez, Ndiaye, Enzo and Rodgers with the armband, and Declan Rice that had hit DEFCON. And up top we've got Erling Haaland. On the bench, we somewhat got the order right this game week. Dubravka, Krupi Jr., Senesi and Mane. A week where a lot of people actually hit the bench boost. First off, Chris, before we start at the start of the game week with the Friday Night Football and then Spurs United, Rodgers, captain, finally got some sort of return this game week, and
I love the Rodgers captaincy. I love stream with you because you just go for it, and I love it, and I'm so happy that came off for you. Obviously, because Fernandez also hit 10 would have been a big captaincy choice as well. The differential hasn't proved as successful it would have been, but still, I think that's great. And Rodgers, he's a great asset. I love it. I've had him as well. I did the other way around. I got Fernandez captain and Rodgers, just in the side. So ended up with the same kind of haul there. But I love it. I think you've got to be a bit differential and to get gains. And I it's come off for you. So I'm really happy.
Yeah, so let's start. I suppose we could start with Leeds and Forest. I mean, big win for Leeds.
Yeah.
Now on the same points as Tottenham, and we can also get onto the Tottenham game because everyone seemed like they captained Bruno Fernandes and also owned Brian Mbeumo. So let's start with Leeds again. First, Chris, great question to start us off. Elliot Anderson, boring or not boring? 4-point ceiling or 4-point floor?
I don't know. Is it 7 in a row or something crazy? I think he's yeah. I mean, yeah. I think it's yeah. Like you say, the ceiling and the floor are kind of the same. But if you've got someone chipping in 4 points, it's one of the reasons I've had Rice. I'm happy to stick with him, even if he doesn't do much. The DEFCONs come in, it's 4 or 5 points each time, and he gets assistance. I think the problem with Anderson for me is it takes out. There's so many good other midfield options that. Like I say, the 4-point ceiling possibility is less attractive. But yeah, I've not owned him all year. I've looked at him a lot, but I've never owned him throughout the season. And maybe Game Week 1, I don't know, because there's a lot of Furore pre-season, but never owned him. But every time I've looked at the midfield, I've looked at him. But there's just always been more attractive attacking kind of assets. Obviously. Rogers has been great. Fernandez is back in, and Bumo's good. Like Rice, as I say, has been solid. I guess beyond that, yeah, Enzo is a question mark for me. I've owned him before. He did okay, and he's doing it. He obviously got the goal last week, but yeah, a bit disappointed with Enzo. We'll come on to that in a minute. But yeah, Henderson. I'd say Henderson's fine to hold. I wouldn't be charging in there though, especially not the way that Forest are kind of combusting a bit at the moment.
Yeah, if I'm being honest, like throughout the season, I had owned Anderson, and for what it's worth, I think he's a great pick. I don't think it's necessarily about what Anderson can do. And by the way, if you're asking me, it's a 4 point floor, not ceiling. Again, I do think he is capable of getting over 4 points, and he is
Of
genuinely.
course, he's capable, but
Yeah.
how often? I'm going to look at it now.
Well,
How often
in
has
the
he got
last five, he's got a 4 times over 4 points. So I'd like to think that it is definitely
Fair
a
enough.
floor. Um, and just on Anderson, it's not necessarily about Anderson. It's what he allows you to do. Now, there is,
Yeah.
a good discussion to have about there are other options that, will score more points than Anderson. And you're right, it is all about timing. But the hard part with everything in life is timing everything. And if you can have a player there who's going to tick away nicely and that allows you to get someone who's more expensive, whether that's a
Yeah.
Cole Palmer or Bukayo Saka later down the line, or if we go back down the line of a Foden, for example, well, that's where you're going to make your money off a more of explosive player, leaving you in
But do you
funds.
think? Do you think? I think that's a very good argument, but I've not felt this year that money's been a problem, and I think that's because we've not had to own Salah, right? So I've not felt really that often squeezed. Maybe the odd time there's been a 0.1 in it, but I've not really felt I couldn't pretty much get to who I want with two transfers and have good options. Not, I mean, obviously my performance this year has not been good, so you shouldn't listen to me. But have you found that budget is a constraint this year?
Yeah, I think this goes down to the price and not being where we particularly wanted to be. I think that's fair to say. This season we've been able to play with 15 playing players. It's the first time uh, ever I think that we've had 15 concurrent players throughout the whole season, because the likes of Mukiele, who realistically probably should have been priced at 4.5. You have the
Yeah.
likes of Anderson, Richards, and um, any 4.5, whether it was Senesi, rotating really, really well, and they probably should be priced at 5 million. DEFCON has just made these players really, really powerful, and even players that we would have never considered, Declan Rice, Caicedo, they've been
I mean, which was
options.
the point, right? Which was the whole point of the DEFCONs. But I guess they're going to have to adjust
Yeah.
pricing with that in mind next season,
But
right?
that's
You're
why
not
the
going to
pricing
find.
has not been an issue. It should be an issue.
Yeah.
Pricing in FPL
Yeah.
should always be an issue and consideration. Like, I should not be able to get everyone who I want. And that's why I feel like everyone last game week had Bruno Fernandes and likely Mbuemo.
Yeah.
And that was because
I did.
yeah, exactly. No one didn't. No one wanted to spend the money on a Bukayo Saka, because now you're paying 10.5 for an asset who loses less of his value because other options are so good for way cheaper. ETC Declan Rice. So
Yeah.
I do think it's a case of pricing. And then, like you said, no Mo Salah and Liverpool. A lot of teams who you'd probably expect to do a bit better than normal, even though they fell off over the last year or two. Whether
Yeah.
that is a Tottenham, for example, or even Chelsea, who haven't had.
You want to talk about Tottenham?
No,
Yeah,
okay,
you
let's
wanna
talk
go
about
into it?
Tottenham. Let's talk about Tottenham. So, I went into the game week not captain Bruno Fernandes, and as you can imagine, as soon as that red card came through, let's actually talk about the red card. But my heart was in my mouth, of course, because it was Tottenham losing, a red card, and FPL points going against me. But
I know.
just on Romero, because again, this is a very big talking point. One, about Romero, and two, on Tottenham. Yes, we are looking like we're in a relegation battle now that West Ham got a result yesterday. But also, just on Romero, I think it's right to say that, it is a bit mad from him. We know he has that in him. But for
Yeah.
me, what annoys me about it is, the likes of Ali McCoist on commentary. Like, we see this almost happen every single week, a challenge like that. The thing is, it's not given consistently that it's a red card. And I feel like as soon as it's Romero who makes a tackle like that, it's an automatic red card. He doesn't need to think twice about it. But if it's any other player in the league, and we've seen it week in, week out now, and as soon as
Yeah,
a tackle like that
I
happens,
do agree that I mean, this is always the problem, and I don't actually think like VAR has necessarily helped it, but like the inconsistency on certain decisions. I think maybe Romero is going against him. I think maybe it's the players involved, like how they reacted and everything that made it look it wasn't a clever challenge, right? And it was at the very least a caution. But yeah, it's tough. But he's a captain. He shouldn't be making challenges like that, like in the first place, right? So I don't know. I don't. It's tough, isn't it? And obviously that set Spurs right back, and a bit of a hiding to nothing after that, really, going down to 10 men straight away. But United played well for outside Romero. I mean, United look a different team right now. I don't know if he's going to get the job. He's making a good fist of it. If he gets in the Champions League, I suspect he will. But they just look a different team. And I don't enjoy that fact because, who wants to see United succeeding? No one. But apart from United fans. But they look a different team. They're playing people in the right positions and options. And that means for us, fantasy options like Fernandes has become a bit of a must. And Bumo's a good option. Cunha even an option. There's like the defence. I had Dallo for ages when they had great fixtures. They delivered virtually nothing. But now, he's back as an option again. I think for United are now very much, United assets are very much in the mix for me now. So I've got two. I've got Fernandes and Bumo, but I can see at some point having a third. But are you serious? Oh no, there's some argument. There's some argument in the chat about something, but I'm going to leave that go. But yeah. So, but what about Spurs? Obviously, Romero, I get the challenge. What do you think? You don't have any Spurs assets. Do you think there's any case for at any point we're going to come from a fantasy perspective into Spurs assets? Or the next few games are tough as well. You've got Newcastle, you've got Arsenal. What's the third game after that? And Fulham away, which not that easy in itself. So how are you feeling? Spurs aren't really coming into the conversation at all, are they? From a fantasy perspective.
Yeah, so just on Billy says if Chai didn't have his Spurs boys, he'd be in the top 10k, and I don't think that's true. The reason I went against captaincy this game week is because I thought it was a good opportunity. I felt like everyone and their mother was captain Fernandes this game week and had a double up with Mbeumo. I felt like Spurs could keep United at a shush for a while, and we didn't. I actually thought with 11 men we played quite well. I thought I've seen a lot with Udogie and Xavi Simons linking up very well, and I was happy with how the game was going, and it's exactly what I expected from Thomas Frank. Again, he's a great record versus the big six, as you know, through Brentford. Again, maybe not necessarily at Tottenham as of yet. Who knows where he'll be in the summer, but I did feel like it was an opportunity to go against Fernandes, even though he did have chances. And the first goal, again, 10 men, you likely have a man on the edge of the box. I spoke on my deadline stream about people are asking about Brian Mbeumo, is he worth captain? And my argument against it was, first off, I'd rather go Bruno. Secondly, if there's a manager in the league who knows Brian Mbeumo better, there is no man better than Frank.
100%.
So that was my argument. And then the goal came from a set piece, which you could have never accounted for. These things happen. And again, it was smart from United, and we just weren't ready for it. And then the last goal was by Fernandes, of course. And again, the game is stretched. We have to throw everything that we can, bring on subs, whatever. So not that, again, Fernandes' haul was well due. Again, he got lots of chances and generated a bit. He could even had more with the likes of Sesko. For me, I fancied Morgan Rogers. I thought it would be a quite open game away at Bournemouth. I still deem Villa one of the best attacks in the league, even if their XG don't look like it, or whatever you want to say about it. XG philosophy will have their own opinion on it there, but I did think it was a good opportunity. He came up with a goal early on. Max Bonus played very well. 11 DEFCON, just one off it. And again, I didn't make any gap here because Fernandes did match him, and even Gabriel had returned, and also Erling Haaland is yet to play. So not quite worth the risk this game week, but I was happy with the decision, and again, I'd do it twice over.
Yeah, it's good call. I don't have a problem with you captaining Rodgers. I think it's good as well. It's good for the game that players are not just sticking between. It was captaincy and Haaland. It still is for a lot of players, but that's really boring. And it's not great for the game if people just leave their captaincy. That's one of the key decisions each week, right? So you don't want to be always sticking with the same option. So yeah, I applaud it and hope it comes off. I still remember the crazy words. Was it Vert's captaincy? You brought him in for a week or whatever, and you captained him.
My captaincy has been all over the place this season. I captained Bruno versus Chelsea in game week 5, I think it was. It's been everywhere. But a very enjoyable week in terms of FPL from my perspective, even if I don't end the game week on a green arrow, because again, there is still Brighton versus Crystal Palace, Liverpool versus City. Before we move on, Chris, Again, 450k to 370k currently. I'm happy with that. I'm always
Yeah,
happy with my team regardless of the rank, as long as I'm seeing returns. Like, it means that the players I've picked, regardless of the outcome, have done something.
yeah.
And lastly, I want to just ask you again, we do have Liverpool and City. How do you see this game going? Again, I'm a bit on the fence. It is a really tough one to call.
I mean, I see it goals on both sides. I don't see either of those defenses locking out the other. I mean, City are a bit stronger since they've reorganised and had Guy come in, but I think it's going to be goals both sides. It is annoyingly the sort of game that Haaland could you know, get the opportunities to get his shooting boots back. There's no way it's going to be 3-0, mate. That's I won't put my house in it, but that's not going to happen. I'd say like I could see like a 1-1 or a 2-2, maybe the odd goal either way. I think there's going to be goals in it, and I think it should be a good game. But yeah, there's a 3-0 prediction in the chat. Let's hear the rest of you. But I one slightly frustrating for me is Ekatike. I had him pre-wildcard. He's one of the players I got rid of, and they've done nothing for me. Like, I think he got like 5 points in 5 games. I didn't play 2 of them, admittedly. And then yeah, suddenly he pulls off that haul. What do you think about Ekatike as an asset?
Yeah, I really, really love Ekitike as an asset. I spoke about him throughout game weeks, even when he was blanking on my own channel. I'm just a big fan of a player like Ekitike. He's, that big ego who is not afraid to come on no matter who his teammates are, do a few step overs, take on his defender and shoot even if he's 30 yards out. And that's just the type of player he is. And again, playing for Liverpool, it's very rare that we have a consistently starting number 9 with Alexander Isak out. You look throughout the seasons, and the only one who was playing really consistently since Bobby Firmino was no one really. You had Darwin Núñez, Diogo Jota dropping in and out. So having a Liverpool number 9, if they can get their stuff together, I still feel like is very powerful. And going from game week 27 when they play against Forest, the fixtures look phenomenal, and they also have a fixture in game week 31 and have a good chance to have a double in game week 33. So very enticing.
Yeah, I'm
going
to monitor him and come back on him. I mean, I have the whole question of. I mean, I guess the other flip side of that is how long you stick with Haaland. I think the fixtures look great coming up after this one for City, but a couple more blanks. I don't know how you kind of feel Haaland is like a tax of the game. Like, if you don't, he's like an insurance policy. You kind of have to have him in, but he's not been delivering the points that someone at that price tag, anywhere near that price tag is warranted at the moment. So I don't know. I won't check him out. But apparently I know this is true. In the chat, someone said that Haaland's never scored at Anfield. I'd have to sadly check that. But if that's true, he's definitely going to score today.
Okay, so Chris, before we move on, give us your score prediction for the game.
Exactly. So we're going to talk about this week 26 a bit, and is that the plan?
Yeah, let's talk about game week 26. So let me quickly pull that up. So here is my game week 26 score. Let me quickly run you through, and then we'll talk about some of my dilemmas. First off, 2 free transfers in the bank, 2.7 million value to spend. On goal, we've got Sanchez, a 3 at the back with Chalobah, Gabriel and Timber. Gabriel currently has the captaincy armband. We have Fernandes, Ndiaye, Enzo, Rodgers and Rice. Up top, Erling Haaland and Mane. On the bench, it's actually quite good. We've got Dubravka, Krupi Jr., Senesi and Anderson. First off, my dilemma this game week is whether or not I want to hit the bench boost or triple captain, or neither. Now, I'm going to tell you where my current head is at. For me, that's a very, very good bench in my opinion.
It is, yeah.
I think the big decision for me is the triple captaincy. Now, I always, and it's who I am, Chris, will always want to play the triple captaincy in a different week than others. Now, I do feel like it is very, very powerful this game week. And not only is it good this game week, but it's what it allows you to do in other game weeks. Again, we have chips to spend, and we have, 12 game weeks remaining.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
The only other options, realistically, and again, we are unsure of the landscape currently, but game week 33 is the other option where you could use your triple captain as things stand, from my understanding. And that will be a very, very popular week to bench boost. So I will have an overlap in chips. I could easily bench boost this week, get that out of the way, and do neither, and that would mean I have to use 2 in weeks that I'm unsure that what they look like.
Yeah.
So I think using the chip does make sense for me to do this week. What do you make of the bench first off? And again, just on the triple captaincy again before you go on about that, uh,
Yeah.
I feel like there is a lot of value with going a bit different on triple captaincy. Sure, Gabriel could knock it out the park,
Yeah.
but what if I got it on someone who was a bit differential later down the line, a bit more exciting? And what if Gabriel does blank? Not that it is likely, but we're looking at
Yeah.
a minimum floor of like 10 points here for Gabriel.
Well, I had my last triple captaincy was on Haaland, I think, when he got like nothing, 2 points or something ridiculous. So yeah, so I'm maybe not the best advisor. I looking at the bench is the first thing you asked me. You're picking away to Everton though. Krupi Junior, Senesi. I mean Everton. You know, the Hill Dickinson's not a fortress. I'm obviously an Everton fan, so inside that. I think that's a game Everton going to go in thinking they're going to win. To be honest,
Absolutely
that doesn't
agree.
mean that Krupi Junior can't score. It doesn't mean Senesi won't pick up DEFCONs. But I don't think that's an easy game. The way Everton are playing at the moment, it's not incredible, but we're in good form. We're we're winning, we're drawing. I think we lost one in the last 6 or 7. So and we've got our players back apart from Grealish. Even Barry and Beto have started scoring. So like I don't think that's an easy one. I think they're good players. I think they're good picks. I'm envious of both of them. I've got Hill and Mane. I think I didn't go with Cooper in the end. Anderson, obviously, as we talked about, there's a that's a interesting one away to City. Dubravka away to Palace. I mean, at the moment, I'd say Dubravka of those is most likely to score the best points. I think Palace just don't look on it at the moment, and I kind of I worry a bit for Palace. I think they're going to be safe because they're a little bit further up the table than some are dropping, but they just don't look at it. They just don't look. Obviously, they've lost players. The manager's going. Like a few of the players thought they were going and not going, so their head maybe where's Mateta's head at? I don't know. I think Palace look kind of in. I don't want to say free fall, but I don't think it's the same Palace we've seen at other points of the season. So I don't love that bunch as much as you do. I would, for what it's worth, I would be going triple captaincy this week, given there's two options, and I'm doing that as I said earlier. But in terms of differential, so where are you thinking? Rice, Timber, Mane? Are you going Mane triple captaincy? That would be the ultimate Maverick Chai move. Where would you think of going for the triple captaincy if it isn't Gabriel?
No, if I were to, it would be on Gabriel. I don't think I'd ever put it on a Declan Rice. Again, if it was Bukayo Saka, I would have definitely considered it. Unfortunately, picking up that injury last game week, just on the bench, Chris, because you do raise a good point. But for me, I kind of look at it kind of the reverse way as well. Like if one of Dubravka, Senesi, or Anderson keep a clean sheet in any of these difficult fixtures, the likelihood is that they're on at least an 8 to 10 pointer. Like if Burnley do keep a clean sheet, like you can imagine Dubravka is heavily involved. Everton, they love a long ball with Beto and Barry. Senesi cleaned up.
He'll get his DEFCONs. He's 100% going to get his DEFCONs. I don't think there's any doubt about that.
Yeah, so I don't think it's the worst bench. And again, it's not necessarily all about this game week.
I didn't say it was the worst bench. I just said I didn't love it.
I just mean that, like, I can understand what you mean. And, like, later down the line is why I would use it this game week. Because, again...
But if you're thinking later down the line, there's going to be a bigger double. And there's going to be, you're going to face most of your bench doubling. Surely that's a better time to use it.
Yes, I would agree, but the problem is I've already hit the wild card, and it's all fine and dandy having lots of players doubling, but getting to them after a blank game week in game week 31, that's the hard part. And again,
no, I get it.
If I just look,
no, the blank's gonna be a challenge. I mean, if I don't play it, I'm up to 4 free transfers at the moment. If I don't, I'm not planning to do a transfer this week, so I'll be up to 5, so I'm up to the max. So I've kind of deliberately tried to do that to give myself the mini wild card and to be able to cover the blanks. And I think that's the strategy, is to be able to kind of cover that without using a free hit. But no, I think that's fair enough. You're a long way up ahead of me in the table here, so I'm not going to tell you what you should do. I just don't love that bench. And I also do think triple captaincy Gabriel is a bit of a maverick move. How many triple captaincy defenders have there ever been? Like, I mean, I can't think of many cases where people have gone for that in a big way. So that's a maverick. If you want something maverick, that's kind of maverick.
I think it'll be a very, very popular thing this week, Chris. Personally, I think it will be. I'm just trying to think of Gabriel's effective ownership. I think it could be over 200, which is for a defender. Even over 200 is rare.
Yeah.
Again, the
I mean, here's
fixtures.
the safest way into that Arsenal defence. I mean, so there's been a question in the chat about whether Saliba is a good cover for Timber. 100%. Saliba outscored Gabriel this week, and he's also DEFCON's. It's not maybe like the goal or assist kind of threat really as much as Gabriel or Timber might have, but I think Saliba's. And he's a little bit cheaper, I think, isn't he? I think I was looking at. I mean, he's similar. It's around the similar price tag. I was looking at Saliba when I went to Timber in the end. But I think it's a fine. I don't know who asked that. It was Carl Baxt, something or other, said it's a suitable differential. I think it definitely is. I know some people have got treble Arsenal defence, which is a bit much, but I don't hate that. Obviously, people got Raya. Some people have got 3 defenders. So yeah, I don't know. I'm going to do it. I do buy though. I do buy what you're saying. I think that there's going to be other good opportunities. This isn't the only opportunity to see the triple captain, but I also do buy what you said about using the chips, and we've both gone wildcard early, but it's not that early. And like you say, there's only a certain number. Those games run out pretty quickly, and you've got to use the chips. I've ended up keeping bench boosts the last day of the season when it was totally pointless in the past. So you want to maximize those, and I don't see a problem doing it like now. Gabriel just has to beat like the 6 points I got from Haaland last time to feel like I've had some success. I think he's going to do that. Yeah, that's cool. Can I ask you a defensive question? You've got double Chelsea defense. I'm looking at Sanchez, being kind of annoyed by him every week so far. They're only 2 weeks. How do you feel about Chelsea defence? The fixtures look great, but they don't seem to be able to keep a clean sheet at the moment. So, if you didn't have double Chelsea defence, would you still be going into it?
Yeah, I just want to touch off the bench boost just lastly before we move on.
Okay, it's fine.
So again, one of my biggest issues with waiting until the game week 33 to use the bench boost is all the fixtures who are blanking in game week 31 are the teams that double in game week 33. So again, because I'm on wildcard, Arsenal will double in 33, which I'll be holding on to anyway. Crystal Palace double in 33, City and Wolves, or not Wolves, sorry. And then you have other teams like Newcastle, Liverpool and Chelsea, Burnley and Brighton. So in my current team, no Bournemouth doubles in 33, no Villa doubles. You have Arsenal, but I have to survive the blank, so makes it a bit awkward. So I don't think I'll have a full stack going into that game week anyway. On the Chelsea assets, Chris, I think you're absolutely right. I am not sitting here confident at all with Trevor Chalobah and Sanchez. But what I would say is that's just how the cookie crumbles sometimes with goalkeepers. And to be honest, with the fixtures ahead, there'd be no way I'd be getting rid of Sanchez or Chalobah. Chalobah has at least been good with the fact that he gets DEFCON nearly every single week. He's been an absolute warrior for it. Looking at this Leeds at home game, I won't be confident at all looking for a clean sheet. But
no, I can see Leeds scoring it. I think Chelsea will win it. I can see Leeds scoring it though. I think that's the thing. Yeah, it's a shame. I mean, I was going to have Sanchez and Chalobah, and then I went to Sanchez, Enzo and João Pedro, and I was kind of happy with that decision. Talking of Chelsea, this is one in the chat.
Exactly, perfect.
Palmer's just hit a hat trick.
Yeah.
Any thought at all that we've still got these good fixtures ahead, still got a few good fixtures ahead? Is there anything in you at all going Enzo to Palmer?
No, absolutely not for me. Again, I'm quite strong opinionated on this. I just feel like sure, he's coming in at a great time. Fixtures are great. I definitely think he's a good option. I would definitely not knock him to be a good option, especially with those fixtures. I mean, anyone who's on penalties for a big team like Chelsea, of course, are going to be a good option. But I just feel like if that was Saka who had gone and scored 2 penalties in an open play goal, nobody would be ranting and raving about him. To be honest, I just feel like there is a bit of hype around Palmer because it's Palmer. But I think people forget that before Cole Palmer, we're not used to Palmer scoring open play goals. It's always been a lot of penalties, and there was a lot of frustration earlier in the season when we owned him, or in the last season where he went quiet for so long, and you're paying a big premium. Again, the fixtures are still good up until probably game week 28. But do you really want to hold on to a player for 2 game weeks and the fixtures get tough? And even in that post-match press conference, he spoke about how he hasn't felt his best, and he has to play every single game not knowing if he's going to wake up the next morning sore, which he's not used to. You could bring him in and he could be out
It's every chance he misses the Leeds game. That's on because it's a short turnaround, right? So it's entirely possible he's rested or he comes off the bench or whatever, or he comes off early, and he's not going to play 90 either. That's the thing. He's definitely not going to be playing 90. So I guess that's, you've got to hope that the penalty comes when he's on the pitch, and the damage is done then. But it's hard not to have your eyebrow raised. I like him as a player, and he obviously has that. Talking earlier about floors and ceilings, he does have a big ceiling, as he's just proved. So, yeah, I don't know. Leeds and Burnley, I can see why people would consider the punt. I can definitely see it, but I do agree with you that maybe you could come out of that feeling pretty burnt and spent a transfer, and then you have to kind of
Yeah, so my point was like before the game week, I still hold the same opinion even after him scoring a hat trick, because how it kind of played out. He played 60 minutes and got 2 pens. Like, so he's definitely a good option, and I would have said before the game week he was a good option. But again, it's just, would I be breaking up my team to get him? Like, I don't look at Enzo Fernandez. Like, if I had the money to do Enzo to Palmer, I would do it. But again, I wouldn't be breaking up my team to do it. And
no, it's unlikely. I mean, it's a big differential, right? It's a big price difference. It's not unlikely that many people sat there with 3 million odd in the bank to just do that. So yeah, that's fair enough. I'm not going to do it, but I can see the attraction. I can see if you can do it, and obviously plaudits the people that did it, and one of the guys in the chat went for it. So
yeah, fair play to anyone who has him. If I had Palmer right now, I'd be absolutely buzzing the fact that people like me are not considering him. But again, these would just be the things that I'd be thinking about in my current team. And I'm not too pushed about not owning him. And if you do have him, fair play. He's a great option for sure. And he's very much a me pick. Like, I wish I'd done Saka to Palmer last game, but the reason I didn't is because I didn't have enough money to do it. And I'm also trying to set my team up for the future. So just not something that I'm exactly pushed on. But who knows? Next game week we could see another Palmer brace, and I'll be eating my words. And
yeah, we'll be sitting there going, yeah. But the good thing though is that from a rank damage, it's not likely to be massive ownership, right? It's not the same as a Haaland, a Haaland hat trick if you've not captained him or something. He's going to be he's not going to have the same crazy level of ownership. I mean, it will go up obviously after this week. There's always people that follow the points, but it's not going to really kill you. Yeah. I'm hoping Enzo can come back with another last minute goal, or chip in some Defcons or something. Because he's kind of the weak man in my midfield at the moment. He's the only blanker. Well, Sanchez and Enzo the only blankers this week so far for me. So yeah, cool. Okay. What is there anything else? What are the key things? So we talked about bench boost. You're considering it. Don't hate it, but I don't love the bench. But fair enough. We talked about triple captaincy options. I'm looking at it, and at the moment I'm nailed on to do it. I reserve the right to change my mind, but as it stands, I've got it on. I'm planning for it. Is there any other key kind of decisions? Like we talked, you've got obviously 3 Arsenal feels like a must. Unless you've got a very strong reason not to. What about Wolves? We both got Mane, right? That's the only real interesting option. Is there anybody else that you'd bring in or have from Wolves? I don't think there is, but I'm asking.
Yeah, we are coming towards the end of the stream, and for me, I'm very happy with my current team. I don't think there's any way in which I'll be making a transfer this game week. Again, 2.7 million in the bank and 2 free transfers, and I need to start planning towards game week 31. I do think the only way I could make a move this way, Chris, is if I did Joachim Andersen to a Liverpool defender. Now, the reason I like that is because I feel like the bench looks much better if you slap a Liverpool player who's playing against Sunderland. Yeah. And also, for me, I think we're going to start seeing a lot of direction going towards Liverpool assets, whether it is Ekitike if you don't own him, Virgil van Dijk will be back in the mix, or Florian Wirtz. Again, looking at the fixtures, Sunderland, Forest, West Ham, Wolves, Tottenham, and they are one of those teams who do have a fixture in game week 31, are likely to have a double in 33. Currently, if I'm looking at the projections, it's Everton and Crystal Palace. Yeah. When you consider all those things, and considering the fact it will be a transfer in the future that we're willing to make anyway, I do quite like that if I do plan on hitting the bench boost. But overall, I feel like the team is set. for me, I don't think it is necessary for a Jose So or a Krejci, for example, who I do think is somewhat of a decent option. He's been quite attacking this season, and Wolves have kind of turned a leaf, I think it's fair to say, even though they mightn't be getting results week in, week out. They are improving, but for me, I'm more than happy with just the Mane. Roll the dice with him and see if anything can happen. And when you increase the likelihood with 2 games, of course it is exciting.
Yeah. Verts is the cry from the bench. There we go. So Verts, for everyone has a bit of Verts.
But we'll round it up there, Chris. Again, it's been a very enjoyable stream. I'm looking forward to the double
Always
game
good.
week.